You're welcome back. This is the AM show. I'm Bernice Abubedu-Lansa, and you know here at the Multimedia Group, we are all about making an impact and not just appearing on your screens every day. And that's why we think through what we do and put up the very best of content, not only to engage you, but to engage policymakers to initiate change in this country. And guess what? This morning, and I'm not patronizing him at all, I'm really privileged to be hosting Samson Ladi Anyenene. Good to have you, Samson.
I'm excited. I'm excited to be on your show this morning.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming. So this morning we're talking about the Joy Change Speaker Series, and this is the 4th edition, and it's happening this Saturday. And here's why you must join us on Saturday from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. You don't only have great people built to speak, you have great people who will ask the most important questions and do the best of moderation for you. You have Samson Ladi Anyenene and Dr. Mami Mensah-Bonsu. So Samson, tell us more about this. I just had a conversation about the Dachi case, and we were talking about what the Constitution offers in such situations. You're speaking about getting it right after 30 years, my case for constitutional review. Why is this the important conversation to have at this time?
Great. And thank you once again. And my co-host, whom I'm so privileged and thrilled to have her join us do this work. She's a constitutional theorist. She has such a brilliant mind. Dr. Mami Mensah-Bonsu. She has actually recently reviewed some of the Supreme Court decisions bordering on aspects of the Constitution, including this matter you just discussed. And she has very iconoclastic views about that. So I can't wait to have her in, fire the questions with very, researched and formidable legal basis to our incredible guests. So Joy Change Speakers series came about as a result of a realization that we do Newsfile and we do our programming often criticizing things, but it was important also to have the opportunity of significant persons within the country, particularly people who have distinguished themselves in their fields of endeavor. It doesn't matter, from archaeology to zoology, like they'll say, to bring them here and to give them a blank check and let them speak their expertise, their minds, and make recommendations, which should, as our tagline says, impacting influence for a better Ghana. But this time round, we are limiting our guests to deal with the matter of constitutional review, which has become very topical these days. And this coincides with the 30th anniversary of the Constitution of Ghana.
Right.
As it is said, the unexamined, life is not worth living. So we believe that after 30 years, we have come to agree that there's need to do something about the Constitution. So the people we are bringing are people that you may have heard pitch certain positions about what needs to change. So we give them the opportunity on the Change Speaker Series platform 4 to tell us what it is. So they are talking about my case for constitutional review. So they will make a case why there should be a review.
Right. And
they will point to which portions of the Constitution they think has to be reviewed. If you look at Professor Bafwa Jumanduya, incredible as far as his pedigree in governance matters, good governance matters are concerned. In recent times, he has stated clearly portions of the Constitution that clearly need, to be looked at again. Just last week, he was on Newsfile discussing the president's appointment to the Electoral Commission and people's concern about the appointment of a party loyalist. So he said, This is one good reason we talk about amending the Constitution. If the Constitution does not fetter the president's discretion on who to appoint, because this institution must be neutral, it must be independent. If you don't put any fetters there, they will do as they wish.
Right.
This is a constitution that allows the president to appoint as many as we're told 4,000 to 6,000 people, appointments by the president. So you need to have certain checks
and balance
over these matters. Now, if you have followed the Ghana Compact discussion, there's a Ghana Compact discussion that is going on among some of the very significant, illustrious citizens of this country. I was privileged to join one of those discussions last week, where senior citizens like Sam Okujeto, Sam Jonah, Professor Emerita Techua Menu, and a host of others met. And one of the things that concerned them, which concerns all of us, is how you cannot look at Ghana and point to incremental development since we started operating this regime. This is their concern, which the NDPC also has, about having a long-term national vision so that any party that comes in will feed into it their programs. So my best example to bring this home is President Kufuor became president. He started affordable housing project. He didn't finish, he left. Guess what? The NDC came, they abandoned it. They didn't just abandon it, they started their own. Remember the SCS matter. They also, by the time they were leaving, they left us a very good Saglime project. The MPP is in, they have abandoned it. They've not just abandoned it, they are on affordable housing projects still going on. Guess what? It's your money, it's my money. Why do we do these things to ourselves? Incrementally, how can't we see development? So this is some of the concerns of very well-meaning people in this country, because the Constitution doesn't make it mandatory and compulsory. It only makes it permissive, that as practicable, don't leave previous projects, continue with them. It doesn't make it compulsory.
It's not binding.
So people say this must become binding through a constitution review process. There's a district assemblies elections matter. The president decided we should go and vote. But what did he do? He decided to choose his own way of doing it. Once the people didn't like it, he said, okay, then we won't do it anymore. Should we do it by a review so that he doesn't have a say in it, by the people's own say so? So our guests, we are hoping they will take us through this process and influence our thoughts in the process. We are also in the process going to be distributing about 100 constitutions to our audiences. What we are hoping is that you must know the Constitution first so that you can make an input into what must be done to improve our lot.
That's very interesting. And you know, I don't think this is sheer coincidence that on the front page of the Daily Graphic today, when you spoke about the NDPC, I just remembered, ensuring food security agric must come under NDPC. And that's Juma Odum proposing at a graphic development series. And we know what this man has done for Nigeria. We talk about it. You hosted him.
He was here on Change Speaker Series 3. This man has revolutionized agriculture in Nigeria. Nigeria was importing almost like we are doing almost 100%. When he went in there, it reduced to about 8 to 5% importation of foreign rice. Now they are depending on their own because of one of our own, Juma Odum. So we brought him on Change Speakers. He's accomplished in that area and he laid out what the country must do. That's what Change Speakers seeks to do. You give people the opportunity who know something to speak about them and give advice.
It's very important, and I hope that you keep the date and the time locked. It's this Saturday, and here's why you should be interested, because this is your country. This is where you live, and you must be interested in every single detail of how it runs. Because guess what? We are the ones who feel it. We are the ones who experience it all the time. And this is a conversation that should even trickle down, I believe, to young people who must also begin to see ahead. Because many of the people who are speaking may not necessarily live to see the fruits of all the hard work they're putting in.
Right.
But for many young people like myself, we will benefit, and so we must all get on board. And it's happening this Saturday, and you can watch it online, you can watch it on television, and you can listen on radio as well, so you don't have an excuse. Once again, Samson, just briefly run us through those who are speaking. I know there's lawyer Ace Ankoma. I'll be so glad to hear from him.
Absolutely fantastic.
Exactly.
And he's written about this recently again. He's been writing, and he's written about it recently again. He feels that our constitution is good in a large measure, but we don't have good people driving it, so we make it bad. But he still feels there are portions we should amend. We want to hear what are his list of the amendment that must be done, and how should the amendment be done. You have heard Chairman Sabonso, for example, says we should reduce government. We shouldn't continue to increase parliament. We continue to increase. I mean, no brainer that a country like ours, because there's no cap, a president could appoint as many as 126 ministers and justify it. Must the constitution bring a ceiling? That's a question. So let's hear what he thinks about it. Inu Safuseni, former member of parliament, former minister, brings the experience of being in government and being in parliament. Maybe if we may be stepping on some line mine, he will tell us, hey, don't try it. Then we see whether we can or we cannot. Bridget Jugbonuku, who is the PPP's presidential candidate, has also been very vocal at fora on constitution review. She has very fine ideas. We want to hear and try and synthesize them. Caitlin Ade, the chairperson of the NCCE, they must also have a role. When we're going to do the referendum, yes or no, they were educating the public about it. What do they, what sort of supervision will they bring on board to educate you and I to see how we follow the process? Oliver Bakavomawo, there's something about that guy that people may not pay attention. He's not just a lawyer and a researcher, but the Constitution Review Commission, set up in 2010, which produced its 1,000-page report in 2012. You can call him your whiz-kid, engine that was within that system. So when we are doing the process, maybe we bring up an issue. He'll be able to point us to us. This was dealt with and dealt with in this way. Maybe this time we can look to add on and do this way. They proposed about over 50 non-entrenched clauses to be amended, and then about 41 entrenched clauses to be amended. He is your hands-on guy that even if you were asleep and you woke him up and you said, what did you guys say about Article 41? He can tell you exactly what they did.
Great
so we are hoping that it will be rich and the audience will participate with questions.
It definitely will be rich, and I'm just reminded, the president quite recently, I think about a week ago, spoke about those who are calling for review of the Constitution, and I pray he listens. Please ask the president to listen, let him hear from the people, and maybe he will be convinced. But once again, it's about you and I. Once the people want something, there's no stopping it. So let's all understand, let's all listen, let's all engage, have discussions and conversations. And like Samson said, what's the point of using something for 30 years and not sitting back to ask yourself, what progress, how has it helped me? Even in our own homes. I mean, quite recently, I was speaking to one of my bosses and I said, I've had to do a few adjustments here and there because I had to sit back and look at how I'm managing myself, career, home, and all that. So, I mean, this is something we do. So it must extend to the national level.
Of life.
Exactly.
It's a natural consequence of life. The president used to be an advocate for an overhaul of the Constitution. But since he came into office, he wants us to be hesitant about overhaul. He wants something done, but he doesn't want it the way some people see it. But well, when it is the people's, decision, the people are the sovereign.
Exactly.
The elected are servants.
Something we don't understand here. We just don't get it here.
That's right.
But thank you so much, Samson, for coming. On Saturday,
my pleasure.
It will be this way, but I won't be the one seated here because I'm not qualified. As at yet, as at now,
you're more than qualified. and like I said, I'm sure that she'll be hosting me one of these days on Newsfile.
Very soon. Let's see how it goes. Fingers crossed.
We're done with the Ghana month. I'm just looking at the pictures. Some coincidence there.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm happy about that.
Thank you so much, Samson Ladiayen,
Right.
our one and only host of the Newsfile, has put something special together with the team for you this Saturday, and it's our Change Speaker Series 4. You must not miss this and join the conversations. It will be very interactive on social media. You can send your comments, also send your tweets, and definitely they will try to incorporate that. But that has been our conversation this morning.
The constitutions we are giving for free,
Fantastic.
100 of them.
Fantastic. So do get interactive with us. And for you young people, and I need to say this again, young people, please, let's not lose it. Let's be interested and let's come together and help this nation grow. Well, that'll be it with my conversation with Samson. Benjamin Akapo joins me after shortly, and we get interactive with you. Do stay.